If you're still banking in the classic 90 days of no contact to win your ex back, be careful, because this might actually push your ex further away. In this video, I'm going to explain why this formula doesn't work, why it's actually dangerous. My name is Alexis Friedlander. I'm a relationship therapist based in London, known as the Avoidant therapist. And my job is to give you clarity. Not any form of wishy-washy type of tips, things that work with my clients that are backed by science. If you want to know what's going on, if you want to know whether you should break the contact, whether you should stay in the contact, how long you need to stay in the contact, this video is for you. I'll explain everything after the jingle. So this idea of 90 days to me is a myth. Preparing this video, I made a lot of research and I couldn't find any serious scientific studies giving a timeline that would work for everyone. If only there was one, I would use it and things would be easier. The problem is, as you need to gain clarity, as you need to make sense of the situation, it's very tempting to use a framework, to use some dates like formula and things that will apply to your situation. And that's why when you discover about attachment theory and understand that, for example, your ex was an avoidant person, it sort of makes sense and you want to explore and find that, okay, there might be a secret formula, something that will unlock everything, because right now I can't make sense of what's going on. So this idea of having a date is reassuring, and I'm going to show you how you can use a date in a smart way. This idea of being in control is also very important, and again, we can borrow this principle from this, but you have to understand that this 90-day thing has no scientific meaning. It really depends on the situation, it really depends on your relationship, on the dynamic after the breakup, and a lot of criteria that we assess actually as part of the assessment that I mentioned before. But it's very important for you to understand and be cautious about these 90 days, because I've seen so many cases of people going no contact for 90 days, reaching out, waiting for the ex to reach out, and discover it is too late. So don't get me wrong, I'm not saying no contact is a bad strategy. I do believe you need to go no contact at some stage when you break up with someone. The logic or the rationale behind no contact is, first of all, it creates this element of scarcity. If you're not around, if you're not contacting them, they will feel the loss. Okay. Also, the other element important in no contact, and why I think you have to go through a phase of no contact, is usually when you break up with someone, there's a lot of strong emotions, a lot of resentment. When you give your partner that space, it will automatically cool down the dynamic. Another element as a therapist that I find interesting is giving you that space to reflect. You can't make smart decisions if you're constantly triggered, trying to decode their text, trying to find ways to communicate with them. You need a space for yourself to heal, to reflect, to ask yourself the right questions. Another element as well is when you are in no contact, as I said, you create the loss, and your ex start to portray and picture a life without you. And that's important. If it's too short, they won't have enough time to experience life without you. If it's too long, they will create a life without you, right? That's the problem with waiting for too long. The idea and the theory is, when you guys broke up, if you could get back together right at that stage, you would already be together. So the point is, like, you need to create a reset, to reset the dynamic, so you can resume things and repair with no resentment, with no strong emotion, with clarity. And that's why you need a bit of time to process things on your own, and also for them to process things if they took the decision to end the relationship. If you're watching this and wondering if you have any chance of getting back with your ex, or even if it's the right thing to do, I've created a free assessment that gives you clarity. It's based on attachment science, and it will show you whether your ex is still emotionally engaged, if reconnection is possible, and how ready you are mentally and emotionally. What you have to do is just answer a few questions and you'll get a personalized breakdown within 2 minutes. You can find the link of this assessment below in the description. But there's a risk of no contact. The risk is that the time might work against you. When you wait for too long, the people will find ways to get dopamine from other sources. So yes, when you disappear from their life, there's a withdrawal symptoms where people feel like the loss, people feel the need to connect, but if they don't find this person, this source anymore, they will replace it with someone else. When you ruminate on the relationship, when you think about the relationship, at some stage you stop and you move forward. The social support as well. People usually, depending on the breakup, but people usually want you to succeed, want you to be happy. And they will help you if you want to get back together at the first few months. But after 3 months, people are fed up. They don't want to root for you for the relationship anymore. They'll ask you to move on. And they'll ask your ex to move on, to move forward. And so this element of clarity, this element of growth, of repairing is obsolete. At some stage, we feel this is how it is. You need to understand that what brings people together is things were not working. And I feel I make the decision to end the relationship because I assume I'll be happier being on my own or in another relationship. Then you have a time of reflection where you might start to see things differently. But after a while, when things have settled, when this is the new normal, you accept the situation. So there's a phase where you're torn because you're not so sure about the decision. And then after a while, you realize like, actually, even though that was not at that stage, maybe not the right decision, right now I'm living with it and I will embrace this decision. So that's where there's like a phase where you have to be really careful because once you pass this stage, it's very hard to recover the relationship because it's settled. This is the new reality and people don't get back and don't open a wound, trauma or things that is perceived is in the past. I close the chapter and I'm moving forward. And I'm recording this video because I had a case last week with Alex. He was dating his girlfriend, his partner for 3 years. They broke up and he was listening to tips online, like, go no contact indefinitely, don't reach out, stay strong, etc. And when we started working together, I think they were, I remember 130 days of no contact. What happened is that his partner already settled the life without him. When he would message her, she wouldn't feel the loss. She wouldn't feel interested in his life. She would feel a sense of nostalgia, but not necessarily, I'm looking forward to seeing him. I'm looking forward to repairing things. And he felt like a ghost. He felt like I missed the opportunity. He felt I'm too late. I thought the door was still open. I thought it was unfinished business, but in his ex's mind, it's over. It's over. And the problem is, she reached out to him. I think day 60 or something like that, she reached out to him. And he was like, no, people tell no contact, 90 days, indefinitely. She asked friends, she was still around. But he wanted to stick to this no contact because that is the rule. I need to stick to 90 days of no contact. And timing is way more important than silence itself. So yes, again, I'm not against no contact, but be aware of the timing. I'm sure, and the problem that he's sure as well, that if he had reached out, if he had replied, they would still be together. And so we worked together actually because clearly we realized that we couldn't do anything. It was too late. And even though I have years and years of experience helping people to repair a relationship, when it's too late, it's too late. She's dating someone. I can't judge whether this person is better than my client. That's not the point. But she's moved on and it's too late. And she admitted later, because we managed to have a sit down to discuss adult to adult. And she told him things could have been different probably. If he had reached out earlier, if he had replied, if he had gave her the sense that it was not over. She assumed, okay, he's not reaching out. I know he suffered. He didn't want me to break up with him. But because he's not reaching out, I'm assuming that he's fine with it. And yeah, she started dating. And now she's in this committed relationship. And she doesn't want to she doesn't see herself getting back with her ex. That wouldn't be fair. That's not what she wants. And so Alex, my client, he missed this opportunity. The window is not necessarily a short window, but there's always a window. And some people are so stuck in it's no contact, it's indefinite no contact, I should never reach out, that they miss out on an opportunity and it's too late. So it's the thing I want you to avoid at all costs should you want to get back with your ex. And maybe getting back with your ex is not the right solution, but there's always a window for you to assess. My job is to help you assess. Should I get back with this person? Is it the right decision? And if we do, am I confident that we can create a better relationship, a relationship that would work and not end up with us breaking up again? So the protocol is the following. This break is for you to gain clarity. It's not to end up like Alex, 100 days thinking, when will they reach out? What's happening? The point is to use this time to work on yourself, to ask yourself the right question, to ascertain what would be the right relationship, what you need, your needs, emotional needs, physical needs, how would be the right relationship for you. Then it's important to set a date. And this date shouldn't be longer. Again, it depends on the relationship, but I would advise you not to put a date more than 90 days. And ask yourself and list what I call secure-based question. Secure-based question is basically asking yourself and assessing whether this relationship could make you happy, could make them happy, could function. Also, there's a work to be done on the nervous system around emotional regulation. The point of reaching out, and that's why most of the content on the contact are around this, is you should reach out because you feel confident more than you reach out because you feel the loss. So that's why you need a bit of a phase, and hopefully if you have the right support, it should be fairly quick, where you reach out and you detach yourself from the outcome of reaching out. And then you have to plan the how to do it. So the method, the tone, the boundaries, etc. So it's shifting from we broke up, I need some space to heal, to process things, to ask myself the right questions, and then prepare the phase of contact and assessing what would be the different milestones that I need to achieve or go through with this person, ensuring that I know I'm going in the right direction. That I know I'm not pressuring them, I'm not triggering them, I'm not creating the same patterns, etc., etc. So how can you prep for that secure base? First of all, you define 3 relationship non-negotiables. So that's one of the tools that I use with my clients. We do 1 session usually on this. What are the non-negotiables? The things that if you can't have them, and it has nothing to do with avoidance or anxious. It's like the things that you need to have and get from a relationship. And I think a lot of people, especially when they have an anxious attachment style, it's not very clear or it's not obvious, right? Those questions, they have to think through and ask themselves like, what's in it for me? Okay, because that's important. You shouldn't get back in a relationship only thinking about what your partner needs or wants. It's also about you. Then it's about the intention and the statement of what you need, expressing your needs. So the way you express those needs, I don't want to get into too much detail here, especially if you're dealing with an avoidant, you have to climb the intimacy ladder. You can't go break the contact and have a list of requirements. It's going to pressure them, they're going to withdraw, and you're going to get back to square one with them pulling away and not willing to repair the relationship. And then it's about like the next steps of what needs to happen in the next few weeks. What do you need to see? What do you need to hear for you to make a decision? Is it going in the right direction? Am I the only one doing the work? And then it's about preparing. And so how confident you are in delivering this, in having this date, in having those conversations. So it's something that you can do in front of your mirror, it's something you can do with a coach. So that's why I do usually with my clients. We have a session before they go on it's not a date, but they have a catch up with their ex. I do sort of the ex, the avoidant ex, and for them to really rehearse and feel confident, and then potentially have a follow-up after this message, after this catch-up, for you to, again, be prepared and use that momentum to gain clarity, to make progress, and finally be able to make the right decision. A few signs that it's time to re-engage. Your ex is looking at your story very regularly. You have signs from mutual friends. That's the outside signs. From your point of view, you feel composed, you feel calm, you have the right emotional regulation tools in place. So you're just thinking about sending a text is not so overwhelming. The dreams that you have, it's not so much about replaying the scenario, ruminating on the past, but it's about like, what do I need to build? What do we need to establish together? The talks is about curiosity. It's not about dread. So again, it's shifting the negative element of, I need this back, I can't live without this person, to an element of, okay, let's start from square one. What can we get? I'm very curious. I'm very open. I have my needs. I have my boundaries. Okay, so that's where you need a bit of time to shift from a place of loss, a place of being anxious, to a place of safety, to a place of how can we build something together? Because it has to be together. It's a relationship. Yes, you're doing the work. Yes, you're watching this video, and well done. If you want to watch more videos like this, subscribe and like this video. But the point is, okay, what can we... I'm showing up. I'm the one maybe breaking the ice, and there's nothing wrong with that. And please, please, please don't have the ego too much, focusing on, okay, but I shouldn't because they broke up with me. We don't care. At the end of the day, if you need to break the contact, it doesn't matter if what you want is to repair the relationship. And yes, sometimes, a lot of the time actually, you have to take the lead. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to lead the process all the way. You just nudge them and you are kind of a role model of that situation and see how they respond. And then very quickly, if you do the right things, that will be something balanced. That's something that I'm very cautious about when I work with my clients. I make sure that, yes, maybe we're taking the first step, but after a while, we need to assess whether there's reciprocity, whether there's investment. Because if you're the only one investing, if you're the only one trying to repair, it's not going to work out. So yes, maybe you take the first step. Doesn't matter. What matters is after a while, once you've displayed your sense of safety, once you've established your boundaries, you express your needs, you're two adults in the room, and it's really something that you feel is mutual. You're shooting in the right direction, in the same direction. So the timeline is the following. First of all, you create that secure base. Basically, you go no contact and you focus on yourself. So nervous system reset. These are the tools that I use with my clients. Reality check matrix. Like, can you really get back together? Is it really a good idea? And the element of growth mindset. So how do you need to show? What are the things you need to assess from your partner as well? That's why you have role plays of like, okay, if he says this or if she says this, how do you respond? What do you do? And then it's about the reach out. It's about rebuilding the path together. Maybe, yes, you're putting the first brick, the first block, but then it's, again, assessing whether you're going in the right direction together. Assessing the potential. There's this thing around the potential. Yes, a lot of the things that I hear is, if only he did this or that, then we would be happy. If only, okay, fair enough. Create a secure base. Show them what could be a secure relationship. Have they changed? Are they responding in a way that feels, okay, we are finally having the relationship that we expected, the potential. We finally have those needs met. I don't have to protest. I don't have to complain. I don't have to feel upset. They get me. We speak the same language. I call that proactive empathy. Pragmatic empathy, sorry. It's about, I understand my world. They understand my world. I understand their world, and then we can connect at the same level. And then you get to that decision fork. Should I move on? Can we repair? And regardless of the outcome, actually, you'll be at peace. When I look at the stats, most of my clients, they get back together. But in a way, that's not how I measure success on the secure-based program that I have with my clients. The success is whether when they take that decision, they are confident that it's the right decision. And for the people who decide to move on, it's almost automatic, because you know you've done your part, because you know this is not the right relationship. You don't cling anymore to what could have been, to the potential. You know you deserve best, and you have also the confidence that you can meet this person, because you know now how to build that secure attachment. If it's not clear, if you want to have your own timeline, there's a link in the description to book a call with me. In those sessions, I give you also a high-level plan of how it would look like based on your situation. So the assessment that I discussed before is obviously an assessment. If you want to discuss with me, book a call with me, because your situation is unique. And I would love to, first of all, meet with you, discuss your situation, and also give you more detailed view on your situation, because again, your situation is unique and the timeline might differ depending on the length of the relationship, the dynamic post-breakup. And perhaps right now you're struggling, you can't let go, but at the same time you're still in no contact. Maybe today is the right time to break the contact. And I'll tell you, I have an unbiased view of things. If I feel you're wasting your time, I'll tell you. If I feel you should stay in the contact, I'll tell you. If I feel you should break the contact, I will tell you, and I'll tell you how to do it. Don't waste precious time wondering, asking yourself questions. Take action, and I'm looking forward to speaking with you. Take care.